Happy New Week, everyone. What a week we've got ahead of us because on Tuesday night, the Lionesses will finally play their biggest game for some time. They're taking on Spain at Wembley in a crucial World Cup qualifier. And of course, it's none other than Gurav to join me to talk about that. What a week we've got ahead of us. I know there's no WSL, but we have this game we've all been talking about for a long time.
It feels massive, doesn't it? I mean, I know we'll only be halfway through qualification to the Women's World Cup, and obviously they have to win it, and this means nothing if they don't beat Iceland, but it really does feel like this could be where basically it's decided whether they have to go through that long playoff process. And it feels like that could already contribute to how well they do at the World Cup. I mean, when you look at it, we're about a year and a bit away from the Women's World Cup now. Just how much do you think this game will play into what might happen at the tournament and whether or not the Lionesses qualify? Because we kind of do take it for granted that they'll qualify.
We do. Who was I had someone on the other week and we were talking about this and I was getting all carried away because I was saying we're already there. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking actually we've got to play Spain. Not that I need to be humble a little bit because I think we're so good. But at the same time, I love Spain. I think they are also very, very good. A lot of top quality players. And the way the qualification process has worked anyway, I know this whole got to be the best to beat the best to be the best and all that. But at this point, like the fact that England or Spain might not be there, it just doesn't even make sense to me. So I don't think this will be a depiction of how the World Cup will go for us. I think we're in an interesting time right now with England because we're in a good place, but then you're looking at, we'll get into the Serena team selection and stuff like that. But like, I do think this is going to be a difficult game. I know it's more or less sold out at Wembley. The Lionesses love playing at Wembley. We've got great memories there, really positive memories, apart from the Germany game the other year. But other than that, like, I think it's going to be a really good game. And the players have all downplayed this, haven't they? And the staff have for a little while because everyone in the media has been saying England Spain game, England Spain game, and Serena's like we've got these two games first and all that. But yeah, these are the games you want to play in, and it'll be a really tough match for England.
And when I think about this tie, England versus Spain, which almost feels like a derby now because we've played it so many times the last couple of years, there's a couple of games obviously that stand out. Of course, most recently, the great memory of winning the Euros in Switzerland. I mean, that one going all the way to penalties. And I think that's probably the only way that they could have been separated on the night. But then, of course, before that, the painful memory of losing out in the World Cup final. And then, of course, there was that game in the middle when I remember Jess Park scored the winner, and that one I believe was at Wembley as well. There's a couple of ways that this game has played out over the years, but it does feel like it's not like either team necessarily has the upper hand. Yes, I think Spain have been pretty dominant, perhaps for more of the time during the game, but we've seen England compete. When you look at where they are now, bearing in mind how England maybe performed at the Euros, I know they won, but they weren't always the most convincing side. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, it's funny because I think England also can look back on that Germany semi-final that Spain played because I thought Germany deserved to win that game. And obviously, no Aitana Bonmati. Alexia is playing the best football I've probably seen her play. Don't want to talk about since before the injury, but like she's playing her best football I've probably seen her play. So she's going to be difficult. Oh, it's so hard to call this one because I think England can do it, but I just think Spain at this moment in time just look too good, to be honest. But I have to back the line. I'm going to go England 2-1. Head and heart's telling me two different things. My heart is telling me England, but my head's telling me Spain. But I'm going to go, I have to back the girls 2-1 England.
I think we can't underestimate the Wembley advantage as well because it does give something to the Lionesses in the way that they do play there. It does give them something. And you mentioned Aitana Bonmati there, and actually this game might come at the perfect time for the Lionesses. And you never want to win because players are out or whatnot. And it's not like the Lionesses don't have injuries of their own. Obviously, Leah Williamson, perhaps the most prominent of those. But Bonmati, I saw was speaking the other day about how she's hoping to be back fit, possibly for the first leg of that Champions League semi-final for Barcelona against Bayern Munich. And if that's the case, then, maybe by the time the Lionesses play the return leg in Spain, she'll be back for that. So this feels like an opportunity, of course. I mean, you take one good player out of Spain's team and it feels like three more pop up in their place, of course. But I think Spain as well, what we've perhaps not considered is that actually mentally for them, they lost the Euros not that long ago. And also, I know Barcelona and Spain aren't the same team, but there are a lot of players in that Barcelona team who do play for Spain. And they also had a shock defeat in the Champions League. How do you think they will have been dealing with that? And as a team, where are they at? Because we kind of know where the Lionesses are at, but maybe we're not thinking so much about where Spain are.
Yeah, I think you're right, Umar. I think it has become a rivalry. And I think with this Spain team, they don't shy away from mentality. Do you know what I mean? I think they have that in them. They never really, and everybody was shocked that Arsenal beat Barcelona in the final. And you could see exactly what they did in their first game. But I know we're not talking about Barcelona, but they beat Bayern 7-1 because they had that fire in their eye. I just hope that Spain don't come to Wembley with that same fire. Do you know what I mean? Where they want that redemption. I mean, they're a top quality side, but I do think, the Lionesses can look back on that Germany semi-final that they played genuine. I know it was a long time ago, but a lot of similar players were in that team and Germany were the better side. So I do think if you catch Spain on an off day, or you can get in their faces, a bit like what Arsenal did and kind of stifle them a little bit, like Arsenal did against Barcelona. And England have done it before, and I think you're looking at Alexia, but you've got Marino Caldente, you've got Padri, you've got Paralluelo potentially coming off the bench. Like the list could go on. And this is a top quality team that I love watching play. Be interesting to see Serena's team selection in the back line. I know Alex Greenwood's back. Taylor Hine did the press conference yesterday, and I like what she had to say. There was a question I think Anton Tolui asked her about everyone being back, and she was like, "The good thing about this Lionesses team is that we're all in it together." Now you want to be playing obviously, but I do think there's a cohesion with this team that's quite different. And I think when you win things, honestly, Umar, it brings you so close together. And if you're not in that squad that wins, once you get in there, you want to stay there. So I do think it'll be interesting to see who plays in that back line for England. Will it be Jess Carter alongside Alex Greenwood? Well, we know that Serena loves playing Mel Letizier at fullback. So, it'll be interesting to see. I actually bumped into Serena at the airport last week in Birmingham. I was walking, I just watched her press conference. I was about to get on a flight to Munich and she was in front of me. And I didn't catch up with her or anything like that. I know Serena, not as mate, but like we know each other from seeing each other. And I was like, what are the chances? Like I've just bumped into Serena at Birmingham airport. So yeah, crazy, crazy times after I just watched her. But I love Serena. I just love her. I think she's got this like aura about her. And I always say, I wish she was my manager.
I wish she was my best friend. I don't know what I would do if I bumped into Serena Wiegman at the airport. I'd
I
probably
thought
just
I
like,
was your best friend.
you are. Sorry.
I'm hurt. I'm very
We could be
hurt.
a squad. We could be a squad, us three. I feel like that would be that would be like, when someone says, oh, if you could have a dinner party, Lianne
Yeah.
Sanderson, Serena Wiegman, and I don't know,
I'll
someone
step
else.
aside for Serena. I understand, Uma. I understand.
But no, you know what? It's interesting you mentioned the Lionesses squad depth, and actually Taylor Hines is a perfect example of this because it does feel like obviously she changed her allegiance from playing for Jamaica. She's come into the England squad, and it feels like she probably could have been there for ages. Obviously, I know that since moving to Arsenal, she's perhaps feels like she's become a bit more of a well-rounded player. Obviously, she's playing in the Champions League now, and she looks like she belongs there. But a couple of other call-ups that have perhaps surprised people a bit more. Erica Meg Parkinson, 17 years old, in the squad for her debut, surprised a lot of people. And then, of course, a bit later on, when Freya Godfrey withdrew from the squad with injury, of course, we hope she's all well. But Kira Barry, formerly of Man United, gets into the squad. Obviously, she's playing in the States at the moment. I know you all have seen her play a lot. But what do you make of those two call-ups?
Yeah, do you know what? Let's not all sit here and pretend we know a lot about Meg Parkinson because it reminds me of, when Ralph Rangnick got the Man United job and everyone was going, yeah, 4-1-1-1. No one knew who Ralph Rangnick was. No disrespect. But Serena, this is exactly why they have scouts. I've personally never seen her play, right? I've watched since the call up. I've looked up clips, I've tried to see on YouTube, but they must see something. It's quite an interesting time to call her up as well, in this massive game. Kira Barry, I like this player a lot. Like I do a lot of the under 23 England games, and she doesn't usually start for England under 23s. And I know obviously Emma Coates is out with Bay. Emma used to work with England under 23s, and I'm sure Serena's had conversations with Emma about Kira. She's had a really good start to the season at Bay. But in my mind, I'd be thinking someone like Alexi Potter would have been a player that would have been called up before, especially Parkinson to a certain degree. Now, listen, good luck to the girls. 100% like understand, trust Serena 100%. But Emma Hayes does this as well. Emma Hayes has made some decisions with the US Women's National Team that originally Avery Patterson got called in and everyone's thinking, oh, this is a weird one. And Avery's a top player at the Houston Dash and she's fitted into the US Women's National Team seamlessly. So maybe Serena's seeing things that no one else has seen with regards to Parkinson. Because, like I said, let's not all sit here and pretend we all know this player. We don't. But I'm excited that there's some young players that are being selected because I think, I saw a really good piece from Catherine as well. And with regards to academies, young players, Catherine Batt. And I think, like, it's interesting because I do think there's a lack of development with younger players coming through at WSL clubs and at England. I think there was a time where we all came through, then there was the next wave of players, Leah Williamson, Georgia Stanway, Kira Walsh. And then you look at that little bit now, what players are coming? Michelle Agyemang, yes, but Serena saw that diamond in the rough there because, again, Catherine Batt suggested that as well. I mean, Catherine's a genius, as we know, but like, so yeah, we'll have to see. Will Parkinson get any minutes to be determined? But, I like Kira Barry, but I do think I was surprised that players like Lexi Potter haven't been selected, but I'm sure Lexi's time will come.
Yeah, it absolutely will because we've already seen her start to shine at club level. And, if you were saying we don't really know that much about Erica Meg Parkinson, just for people who maybe aren't aware, she plays out in Portugal for Valadares Gaia, and she was actually eligible to play for Japan, Singapore, Portugal, and England. And a really fun fact that I found, I saw her do an interview. She's got a brother called Dennis. So she is named after Eric Cantona, and her brother, I believe, is named after Dennis Law. So I think there's Man United genes in
Okay,
her
I like her even more
family.
now. I like her even more.
I thought you might say that. But you know what? This point about Serena Wiegman calling up the likes of Erica Meg Parkinson, Kira Barry, even Taylor Hines to an extent, this represents a real shift away from the Serena Wiegman that we've perhaps come to know and love the last few major tournaments because she's not known for being very experimental with her call ups. I really like that because I think I always use Lucy Bronze as an example just because of how long she's been around and how experienced she is. But these kinds of players aren't going to be there forever. And I feel like there's been perhaps a certain, like you say, lack of options coming through to, eventually not replace, but succeed these players. And that's worrying because what happens when you have that is you have a period of real success, you win loads of major trophies, you win Euros, you go for World Cups, and then suddenly there's a complete lack of players coming through. And we don't want that because I feel like there is a slight gap in generation. That middle class of players are not there. So for Serena Wiegman, this shift is quite important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think with Serena, she has a way of doing things, her methodology. And it's interesting as well because Lotte Wubben-Moy has been excellent of late. And I get the feeling she's not going to start in these games against Spain and Iceland, which, is a difficult one because, Leah Williamson, I understand, as the captain's been selected, but hasn't really played at Arsenal this season at all. So I don't get the feeling that she'll play Wubben-Moy in a centre back position. But I personally think she deserves a chance because, this is a player that's done excellently for Arsenal. So, yeah, it is good to see Serena, trying new things. And this is, well, is it the time to really try new things? World Cup qualifiers? Yeah, don't know about that. But all these players are not going to play Uma. So, for Parkinson, for Kira Barry, maybe it's a matter of, getting them some experience in the team, see how they get on in that environment. Because it isn't just about playing football. I know that sounds crazy, but it's how does this player adjust? How do they adapt to being in that environment? And I think this team welcome players in. It's important. When I went into the England senior team, Sue Smith was my first roommate. And she was brilliant. Couldn't have asked for a better roommate to have. Do you know what I mean? So it helps when you go into a team that welcome you, make you feel comfortable. Because I'm telling you now, every time you play for England, those butterflies are there. Every time I used to get that letter, well, it was a letter there, not that I'm a dinosaur, but through the post to say I was selected. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that feeling you share with your family. So I can't even imagine how Erica Meg Parkinson and Kira Barry were feeling. Because although Kira Barry's been part of the younger teams, when you get your first call up for the senior team, it is the most proudest moment you ever could have. And even for the players that are there all the time, it's still a proud moment you should never take for granted.
I'm laughing because Ellie Roebuck, I think, revealed a couple of weeks ago that she found out about one of her England call-ups on Twitter. And I was just thinking how far we've come from getting a letter to someone actually going
Ironically,
on
I found that
Twitter.
I wasn't selected on Twitter. Take that one, eh?
Oh my God,
I
nightmare.
know. I went
That's
on Twitter. This was, thankfully, it was before Serena, obviously, and like a long time ago. But yeah, I found that I wasn't part of a squad on Twitter. But we'll leave that for the book.
that's a story for another time. The book. I hope I'm featured in that. My final question. Serena Wiegman's contract runs through to this tournament, the end of the Women's World Cup in 27, obviously assuming they get there. Do you think she'll stay beyond that, or does it kind of depend on how well they do?
I think she'll stay. I mean, I hope so. I hope she has this more longevity. I mean, it just depends on what Serena wants to do. You know, she's been with the Netherlands, she's been with England, serial winner. Does she want to coach? She can't get any higher than she has at international level. Does she want to coach at club level? You never know. But she's an elite manager, an elite coach. Like, I don't put people in that bracket when it comes to elite other than Emma Hayes, to be honest, when it comes in the women's game. Like, I had Vic Akers in that, but Vic wasn't the most tactically astute manager, but he got the best out of us. And I love Vic for that. You know, he found those diamonds in the rough. Myself, Kim Little, Kelly Smith. Do you know what I mean? Julie Fleeting, the list could go on. Proper scout, proper manager. But Serena, for me, like, she's on a different level along with Emma Hayes. So I don't even want to think about that. It makes me feel like upset. The thought of Serena not. It's hard to fathom Serena not being in on the touchline, isn't it? Like, yeah, I don't want to even think about that, Uma.
Oh, Serena Wiegman. She's never seen a Euro. She hasn't won. Also, did you see that she's going to be on Burna Boy's tour, which is just great?
Wait, are you sure that's true and it's not an April
Oh, was
Fool's?
it about? Oh my
Do you
God,
know
that's
what? I
so
actually think I
embarrassing.
don't know. I mean, I think it
Is
was an
it?
April Fool's, Uma. A bit like they said there was going to be an airport in Milton Keynes.
Oh
Am I
no.
You could be right, but I think you've been done there, Uma.
Well,
We'll see. We'll see.
oh well.
We'll see.
Right, well, moving swiftly on, finally, before I go, let's round up the latest Women's Champions League action with Disney Plus. Now, Leanne, obviously no new Champions League action this week, but what I want to do is I want to get your five-a-side team from the team still left in the Women's Champions League. Who is making this team?
Do you know what, Uma? This is really difficult because those that know me, every time I do a five-a-side team, I seem to leave out a goalkeeper. Not that I don't think goalkeepers are valuable, but with me, when I play FIFA, I've got 11 outfield players. I've got like, so I've gone with Endler from Lyon in goal. I love Endler. I've gone with Alexia, obviously at Barca. Then I've had to go with Lindsay Heaps. Now, love Lindsay Heaps, but I wanted Caroline Graham Hansen in there as well. But I have to have someone that can defend. And Lindsay Heaps, although she's a defensive midfielder, I'm seeing her in a five-a-side. She can sit in front of Endler. So I've gone with Lindsay Heaps. Alessia Russo has to be in there. And Tanikawa from Bayern. But it's difficult because I'm going to give a special mention to Caroline Graham Hansen because I love her. And Pernilla Harder. This is a hard one to do. So those are my five. Endler, Tanikawa, Alexia, Lindsay Heaps, Alessia Russo.
It's so tough. You could probably make an argument for most of the players still left in this tournament, but I like that. That is a fantastic team. And finally, before we go, I've got one more five-a-side to get from you. This is a feature idea from my partner who wanted us to do our Disney character five-a-side. I thought about this so much, but tell me, who's making your Disney character five-a-side?
You know, Uma, this makes me happy because you know how much I love Disney. So I've gone, there's no particular order because that's too difficult for me to do, but I've gone with Simba from The Lion King, Mowgli from Jungle Book, Winnie the Pooh, the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, because I don't know what it is about the Beast. I don't know. I love it. When I went to Disney last week, I cry. I know I'm an absolute loser, but I cry every time I watch the play at Disney. And then I've gone for Pumbaa because I love Pumbaa. So those are my five. Difficult one. I don't know what formation they'll play, but yeah, those are my five. It's quite difficult choosing Disney because now with Disney Plus, it's fantastic because you've got like Modern Family on there. You've got so many different things. So yeah, that's my five.
That's a great shout. The only one I thought that would just be like such tapping, Ursula from Ariel in goal.
Oh my God, great
Like
shout,
you're
but
just
she
not getting
scares me.
past.
She used to
And
scare me.
all of the Incredibles family as a five.
That's a good shout about Ursula in goal. I like that one. I like that,
So
Uma. I love thinking outside the box.
this is the Women's Football Show where we talk about the real issues in football, and that was our roundup of the latest Women's Champions League action with Disney Plus. Watch every match live only on Disney Plus.